Hello, Tom. We did an interview called A Recent Physics Experiment and What It Means to You. And in that interview, you explained Australian National University's experiment that they carried out, which was a thought experiment by John Wheeler. And it was very well done. What I've gotten is a lot of feedback from that interview. People would like to know more about the what it means to you part. Can you expand a little on that?
Yes. Well, that's a fair question. It's like, so what? What does it mean to the guy in the street, right? The common person. There's two broad avenues of meaning for the common person. One of them is that their own life is affected by this experiment. Their own life, their children's life, the lives of their parents and their grandchildren, the lives of all the people they care about, as well as their own life, is affected, or I should say, could be affected by this experiment. Could be is a better choice. And it's in two ways. One, this experiment is just one more of a long series of experiments that is dragging the physics community towards accepting a virtual reality. It's one more experiment, much like the double slit experiments before it, that points to this being an informational reality. The only thing that was important in that experiment was whether or not there was which-way data. Had nothing to do with the path that the particle took initially. See, it has nothing to do with that physical stuff because that's not the key. The key thing is the information. So that's why it's important. So why is it important that we put one more nail in the coffin of materialism? Well, there's two main reasons that that's important. One is, if not materialism, then what? You see, materialism is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And even in the East, which was different than the West, it's not all that different anymore. Even in the East, that has a long and deep history of philosophical underpinning to their culture. They are pretty much Western as well, particularly in the cities, which is the larger part of their population. So materialism is very widespread. Materialism and the ideas of materialism is what governs your life. It's the beliefs that you have. It's a philosophy that makes many people feel alone in the universe, separate. We're all separate. Feeling that we're all separate and really don't have anything to do with each other leads to we're all competing. It's me against you. I have to make for mine and me, and I have to protect mine and me from everybody else trying to get what we have, take our stuff. It leads to these attitudes of, why cooperate? Is that in my best interest to cooperate? I don't think so. It's my best interest to trick you into giving me some of your money. That's in my best interest rather than cooperating with you to maybe do something together. So it's materialism that has kind of been at the root of much of our unhappiness. Because when people are self-centered, they're not happy people. That's not the source of happiness. Getting a lot of stuff and having an easy life is not the source of happiness. Sharing, caring, loving, connecting, that's the source of happiness. Materialism doesn't support that very well. It leads people to see themselves as an island. What about me? So that's not been very healthy for us as a people. It leads to greed, materialism. How much material stuff can I get? That's where happiness is. It's in the amount of stuff you have. It's the amount of power you have. It's the amount of control you have. And if you have power and control over a lot of other people, surely you'd be happy. No, that's not it. So materialism hasn't made you a very happy camper. You live in a very rough world where greed and self-centeredness and wanting to take advantage of other people is common. It's even lauded. You'll find any number of books that are written to justify and glorify greed, rugged individualism, us against them. All of that is kind of a part of the philosophical and sociological impact of a worldview that is materialistic. Stuff becomes more important than relationship. So that's one reason that it should make a difference to you. As we move away from materialism, what are we moving toward? Okay, if not materialism, what? Well, there may be things worse than materialism, but what the virtual reality is going to move us toward is something better than materialism. The virtual reality is going to move us toward love is the answer. Cooperation is the methodology. Caring, empathy are what we're about. That's where virtual reality leads. And why does it lead there? Well, because virtual reality takes the value, and maybe that's the wrong word, but takes the value out of material process and moves it to non-material process, which many people would describe as spiritual process. Okay. Consciousness becomes key. Consciousness becomes what's fundamental. Consciousness becomes the real reality is consciousness. The rest of it is virtual. Okay. This virtual reality is now just, this virtual reality that is our physical universe becomes just a subset of something bigger. Okay. Then when we say, well, what is that bigger thing and why is that going to lead to something good? Well, you look at the virtual reality and you realize that consciousness is the computer. Consciousness is about lowering entropy. That's how consciousness survives, by lowering entropy. Lowering entropy means building, cooperation, caring, okay? Doing things that improve everybody's choices, everybody's life. Virtual reality then takes us toward consciousness that takes us toward the concept of we're all part of the same family. We support each other. No, that's not collective in the sense that somebody decides what everybody else is going to do and then everybody else just turns the crank. That's what a fearful person sees when they think about a cooperative or a collective society. It sounds sort of like socialism and communism, where the government tells everybody else what kind of shoes they have to wear and what they have to do, where free will is hard and harder to come by. No, that's fear-based. In an actual cooperative society, it's not like that at all. There's very little government, if any government. You don't need a lot of government. You don't need very many laws, because everybody is interested in, one, doing the things that bring them more happiness, doing things where they're learning and growing, and two, they're interested in everybody else doing the same thing, learning and growing and having a higher quality of consciousness. So you see, you have more personal freedom in that land, in the land of cooperative consciousness. In the land of love, there's a lot more freedom of what to do, what you can become, how you get there, what you enjoy. You get to pursue your love. You get to pursue what interests you. And that can change 100 times, and that's fine, you see. So you have much more personal choice. So the reason that these experiments are important is because they're dragging science to virtual reality. That's important because the scientists are the high priests of Western culture. The scientists tell us what's right and what to believe. When they say, yea, verily, this is a virtual reality, everybody else says, who's the programmer? And if we come to a better realization that nobody's the programmer, this virtual reality evolved. It wasn't programmed. Well, where did it come from? It's about information. So is consciousness about information. The consciousness system is the computer. You see, these things, one thing leads to another, leads to another. So we're going to have a whole set of dominoes here, that one falls, the next falls, the next falls. Consciousness is the computer. This is a consciousness system. So what am I? Oh, I'm an individuated unit of consciousness. Well, what's my job? What do I do? Why am I here? Oh, you are to lower the entropy of your consciousness. That's how the whole system evolves. If it raises its entropy, the system de-evolves and dies. So that's what you're here to do. Well, how do I do that? Become love is the only way to do that. And that's a logical choice. There's no other choice that answers that question, you see? So now I've skipped a lot of steps and I haven't done derivations for you, but I'm showing you that having virtual reality become an acceptable thing by the scientists is just step one in a series of steps that will end up making your life, the life of your children and your grandchildren, so much better than your life has been that you won't even be able to imagine it. Or maybe it's your grandchildren's grandchildren. I don't know how long this will take, but it is the direction we have to go. It's the direction we will go. And I expect you too, would like to get there sooner rather than later. Well, the more quickly virtual reality is understood to be a fundamental truth, the quicker we're going to get to a state where consciousness is the computer and love is the answer. So that's why it's important to you. Now, that's all kind of philosophical, and it's about all the people. Well, what does it matter to you, say, very specifically? Well, very specifically, you are an individuated unit of consciousness, and very specifically, there's a 99.9999 probability that your life is driven by fear, by ego, by beliefs, by needs, by your wants, by desires, that your life is suboptimal because of that. Your life isn't as happy and joyful as it could be because of that. Understanding virtual reality, yourself as consciousness, where you fit in the big picture, consciousness evolution, what it is you're supposed to be doing here, will enable you to do it much better if you understand it. That's all coming with virtual reality. So what it'll mean to you is that you, your neighbors, and everybody else on the planet will start realizing that they have a purpose here, and it's to grow up, and it's to lower the entropy of their consciousness, and that means caring, becoming love, not ripping people off, not trying to figure out how you can get other people's money out of their pocket into your bank account. You see, not struggling, letting go of the fear, letting go of the ego, living a life of joy and peace and cooperation. That's where it leads. And if that sounds like something good, then this physics about virtual reality is what is going to cause that something good to happen. Eventually, we have to start someplace, and now is the time, because virtual reality has become a thing in physics departments. It's taken seriously now. Thousands and thousands of physicists think virtual reality is a good idea. They haven't yet got to the point that consciousness is the computer, but that's the only logical answer. Once people start thinking about it, that answer is going to come up because there is no other answer. And besides that, We've been talking about this now since 2002 when I published my books, and there's a whole lot of people out there now, thousands and thousands of them, that understand how all this works. So we will turn that corner and hopefully turn it very smartly to where once we get the virtual reality, within the next decade, we'll get the consciousness as the computer, which in the next decade, we'll get love as the answer. So that's only a couple of decades away. You're likely to live to see that and be a part of it. See, that's why it means something to you. And when you and a lot of other people get the idea that you have responsibility here to grow up, get rid of that fear, get rid of that ego. And instead of this being a miserable place where everybody struggles all the time and hardly anybody is very happy for very long, that will be a very welcome day when that comes. So let's get out and cheer for those physicists down in Australia who put one more nail in the coffin of materialism, because that's been at the root of our problem all along. It's all about us against them, me against the world. My way is right, your way is wrong, etc., etc. That's the problem. Anything I can get away with is good for me. You see, that's very self-centered. That's fear-based. So that's why these physics experiments are really important. It's the first step on our way to a better place.
I like that very much. Tom, thank you so much.